that criteria, but it's probably compounded with having like other addictions like alcohol or drugs. And so the porn becomes like part of this like addiction piece. But that's not what we're seeing a lot of the time. Okay. A lot of time what we're seeing is just like normal people like you that just like come in and they're like, I've tried stopping, but I can't. And they can't figure out why they can't stop.
And what are some of the main reasons you've noticed why people can't stop?
Interestingly, it's about risk factors, right? So if someone begins using pornography in childhood, which is the majority of people, it's a lot harder to stop. You learn these neural pathways at a very young age. It becomes something that you rely on. And a lot of people have like untreated OCD, ADHD, bipolar, depression, autism, and they start using this pornography, this feel-good experience, this escape as like almost like self-medicating, like self-soothing. And they begin doing that very early on, and it becomes such a strong pathway that they can't stop, even if they really want to and try. And now we can even tie that piece with like race, for instance. Like say that you are a male of color, have undiagnosed ADHD or autism or something like that, and you didn't receive sex education, you don't know a lot about sex, you become exposed to pornography, and it blows your mind. And you already have this pre-existing condition, you already have this factor, this race factor that's causing you to be in a constant state of stress already, more prone to become more stressed and traumatized and triggered. And now you're using pornography to feel good, and it's really relieving suffering for you on a lot of different layers. For the mental health impairment, for the race issue you experience on a regular basis, for the feelings of loneliness and so on. And so it's placating you on all these different levels in ways that society or your own circle can't really address. And pornography becomes this very powerful tool to relieve that suffering, and the wiring begins at a very young age. And so those are the types of people that really have the toughest time stopping. Even after they get married and they feel like, oh, I have someone I can have sex with all the time, it's not the same. Because in a relationship, it takes like interactions, it takes emotional work and labor to get to the point where the relationship can yield this very high quality sexual experience. But when you're already wired to, hey, feel lonely going here, feel stressed going here, and you can go straight to the source and have that experience, you don't necessarily you're not necessarily driven to do the same necessary work to engage in that experience, if that makes sense. Okay. It doesn't mean that you don't at all, right? Yeah, you still absolutely can, but it diminishes the quality and the efforts and the intuitions and all the different pieces that go into really trying to foster a relationship and environment where sexuality becomes a shared experience without something from the outside.
And that makes, because it was an ignorant question that I was thinking. No. If somebody wants to, you know what I'm saying? If someone wants to climax, why don't they just do it with somebody else? But when you put it in that perspective, like it does take communication. You got to work somebody into mood, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's a cop out, easy way out.
Yeah, and like a lot of people don't mean it to be like any kind of cop out, you know. I have a lot of compassion on people that are stuck in this because they were exposed as children, you know, and like that's not right. No child should be exposed to pornography, yet it's happening all the time.
On that, I know Utah recently, I don't know if they passed something where they banned.
Yeah.
So
you have to like type in your credit card and ID to be over 18 or over. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I did not know it was that deep. I just thought they just had the website. That's crazy. So you have to put in okay, that doesn't matter. But so do you think those parameters are positive for society?
I think if they were effective, they could be positive for society. Okay. But I think you only have that linked up to major websites like Pornhub.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not having that linked up to like amateur types of pornography that are everywhere. Okay. You know, it's like social media. Like, you know, you're not just following Elon Musk. You're following a bunch of different little influencers, right? And it's like with pornography now, it's like you can't put that restraint on all types of pornography. They're everywhere. You can find it on every platform available. There's so many types of amateur porn. So I think it's a step in the right direction. I just I know it's not going to be as effective as you would hope it would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's so many nuances about porn that I had completely wrong, and I just like learning about it, and it's having to like break down. Oh, that makes sense.
There are a lot of nuances to pornography and how they affect relationships and dating culture and so on. You know, it's really complicated stuff, and we're only brushing the surface now. And you know, it's some difficult stuff, especially once you get into like these more complex, deeper issues that really hit on people's identities, whether it's race issues, whether it's LGBT identities, women, people with disabilities. There are so many nuances, but the one thing I'll say that's very clear, and we're going to have the research to really understand the different ways that it's affecting people, but it is not helping people. Pornography is not doing anything helpful for us.
So one thing I was thinking was,